Your source for all things Texas Tech. This is the Ask Level podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome into another episode of the Ask Level podcast. Alongside Chris Level, I'm Chois Woodman. This podcast, as usual, brought to you by our friends at Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Mr. Level, welcome to summertime. How are we doing today?
Mr. Woodman, thank you for welcoming me to summertime. It's a pleasure to be here, sir.
Very formal. Way too formal for this show. A lot going on. I mean, everywhere. Softball, basketball, baseball, coaching changes, college football playoff information or changes, I guess, and a few questions from the audience. So we'll cover a lot in a little time here. Let's go ahead and jump in with basketball. Since you and I have last talked.
When you do the swimming thing or the lake thing or whatever body of water thing.
I almost said jump in 2 feet first, but you know.
Yeah, do we dive in or do we jump in feet from it? What's your preference there?
It's all different depending the place. Lake,
okay.
I think it is the 2 feet first thing.
Okay.
Pool, I usually am doing some sort of a dive, but it's not.
So what I hear you saying is that if you can see what's beneath you, then you'll go
right.
You'll go head first.
But
if not, it's feet first.
I'll break my ankles instead of my face. So
okay, good to know.
Yeah, you?
No.
You're straight cannonball, aren't you? Every time.
Can opener.
Can opener. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it too. Yeah. I can empty out a pool upon entry for sure.
Okay.
It's like all about what was the line from the movie Announce Your Presence with Authority? Yeah. Yeah, that's what when I like to enter a body of water, that's the way I roll. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
No, you already got me off on bodies of water. So are you more of a lake guy, beach guy?
I mean, sure. The thought of the beach is better than the actual beach. The sand, there's a lot of dynamics there. That again, the view,
right.
But the salty water. I mean, whatever. And just the sand can be difficult. So a swimming pool by the beach is about as good as you're gonna do there. Yeah. So
it's a good call.
Yeah. Okay. You were about to here. I've derailed the whole thing.
No, we're good.
Apologies to the folks here that tune in and now have heard us be formal, and now we've talked anything but sports. We've just talked swimming and whatever. Basketball. You were talking about basketball. So Darrion Williams.
So there's questions about
Wolfpack.
He goes from one Wolfpack to Red Raider to another Wolfpack. So Darrion Williams is in there, and then Ben Henshall is a question we've gotten a couple of questions about, the latest on him. But start with Darrion. He lands at NC State. I guess thoughts on that. Start there, Level.
I would say to you that I'm of the belief that he never actually, there was never really a serious level of commitment on his side or Tech's side about a return here.
Mm-hmm.
It never really got to that point. I think he kind of did his thing at the onset of the offseason when the portal window opened and he was doing his thing. I think you went and did your thing, and this is how it ended up. I am personally thankful that he's not in the conference. I think that's just that's a good thing. I don't know if you'll ever see or hear from him again. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll end up playing NC State in some form or fashion in the NCAAs or whatever it would be. But odds are you've seen the last of D5. Great player here, and
Yeah.
I don't want to understate that. He was great here. He really, really was. And it just did kind of run its course. And that's what happens at some of these deals. And so Texas Tech is going to be just fine. NC State gets a heck of a player. The end. As far as Ben Henshall, he's got, I believe, don't quote me here, that the second deadline for the NBA draft applies to him, which is like mid-June, like the 15th or something. It's a ways off.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, I
Okay.
think he could at any point say, "Hey, I'm taking my name out of the draft."
So help explain that because there's a first deadline that's this week, right?
Yeah, don't ask me to do that.
No, sorry,
The
because I'm confused by it all.
first deadline is if you're a college player that wants to maintain eligibility.
I gotcha.
The
Okay.
second one, though, I don't, and again, I don't want to. Well, I want to make it clear here. I'm trying to.
Sure.
I'm not like an expert on these deadlines and exactly one of these is going to apply to this young man.
Right.
I believe it's the second one. That's as far as I can say.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that there's a couple things that have happened. You know, Florida signed Boogie Flan, the guard from Arkansas, big time player. Texas Tech ended his season in San Francisco, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I know John Calipari remembers that. I do as well. D5 remembers that too. Speaking of great player, I
Hmm.
mean it was pretty big time. Um, so, but I still think they're on the hunt there. Florida gets his teammate back and Alex Condon, like or former teammate or acquaintance or whatever. They're buddies.
Hmm.
But I do think Texas Tech is in a good spot. I do think there is some issues to work through for whoever gets him to ensure that he's eligible.
Right.
I don't know what all that entails or how tricky that may or may not be. Um, but there are other options for Texas Tech
Hmm.
that I think overseas options. We'll kind of see where we go here with
Sure.
all of this. I think the one thing I'm comfortable saying is you're not finished adding to your roster.
Okay.
You will add a guard. I think they'd like for that to be Ben Hanschel. I think that it's easier said and stated on this lovely podcast of ours, Woodman, than it
Hmm.
is done. But seems more likely now than it did.
Okay.
But even if he comes out and is like, I'm not going to the draft, I'm going to Texas Tech, it's still not a slam dunk.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay. I mean, I feel more educated than I was 2 minutes ago. So there didn't know there was a second deadline and that stuff can get really confusing. But um Red Raiders are not done as far as basketball goes. One of them, here's a question. This one came from Cody.
And what was also interesting to note is that speaking of this subject is the Pop Isaacs
Hmm.
goes from Houston to Texas A&M. Milos Uzan, leaves the draft and goes to Houston. I mean, I think this is being heavily praised by the folks at Houston, and there's a lot of excitement. I'm semi. I get it. I do understand it.
Yeah,
However, I'm confused because I think Houston needs both guys. I mean, they don't have a player that could have gotten a shot off at the end of the game. I mean, Pop could have done that. I'm telling you right now,
sure he could have.
for all the Kook fans out there, you don't have that guy. Pop could have done it, and I think that while they just kind of made a trade here, I don't think they're necessarily better off because of said trade. I think they needed both players, is what I'm saying. This isn't obviously an option available to them as Pop was like, yeah, I'm gonna go take my larger role and bag and play in College Station. What a weird fit. You and I have been to College Station before. It's not Pop Isaac's territory.
I
I would
well,
think.
I
It's
thought
strange.
Houston. I thought Houston was a weird fit for him,
True. But I
just
got it
just for
because
his
it's Kelvin
game.
Sampson. It's
Right.
Kelvin Sampson. They're going to be good. They could have been a Final Four team, and
Right, but
you're
I
not winning that in College Station.
I just didn't know if Pop played enough defense to play for Kelvin Sampson was the question there for me.
Well, and maybe they would have made him,
Yeah.
or you're not going to get to play. I also would have offered up. I don't know if his frame would have been able to hold up in the
Yeah.
rigors of the way Coach Sampson practices and
Physicality.
all
Yeah.
those things. And there's some injury history.
Right.
Pop's a really good player, though. I mean, again,
Yes.
he would have provided something that they lacked, and that they had something like that. I don't know if the shot goes in or he gets to the free throw line and he makes the free throws. He would have made something of the last 19 seconds last year in the title game, though.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. So, anyways, so there's that. PJ Flaherty ends up what for 2 million and change at Kansas State. So there's still things happening out there in the Big 12 basketball space right now for sure.
No doubt. No doubt. So, elsewhere, since you and I last talked, Texas Tech is all of a sudden playing in Oklahoma City for softball. So that's awesome.
Yes.
The Red Raiders have made it through, and latest odds out, Texas Tech is the favorite to win their side of the bracket. You
They
actually
got
get
a
a
they caught a break.
yeah, definitely get a favorable side to the bracket. Obviously, you still have to play them. Everybody there is there for a reason.
I mean, yeah, Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee on the other side, you definitely caught a break. And as we know, if you win those first two,
Yep.
boy, you're sitting pretty.
Yep. No doubt.
UCLA had to rally to get out of their
Mhm.
super.
It seemed
Um,
like everybody was having. I mean, Texas had to play more than, or had to play all three. It seemed like almost all of these other super regionals were going the distance, and Texas Tech is in. I mean, they
well,
punched their ticket before a lot of teams had even played their first
except
game.
for now, you say that, which is I think largely true. However, the team you're about to play on Thursday night in Ole Miss, they went through Arkansas in 2 games.
Yeah, this Ole Miss team, it was they're good. I mean,
Yeah.
they're hot, I think is where you nab them, and that can be a dangerous thing. But
Oh yeah.
man,
Yeah.
it's been fun to watch. And
I
as
think that I think it's been since I think I heard this right. I think it's been since like 2010, the last time a team made it to the College World Series without even making it to a super regional the year before.
wow, okay,
Yeah, so that just says to you this is again NIL factors in and all the things, but I just think this is very rare.
sure is.
What Texas Tech has kind of gone from not on the radar to hey man,
Yeah,
we'll see you at OKC, and yeah, leave the light on because we plan to stay a while.
yeah. I mean, right now, again, Vegas says Texas Tech favored to play in the championship game, not to win it all, but to play in the championship game. And you could very well play one of your former Big 12 foes to for a shot at the national title,
Yes, you could.
which is pretty crazy and pretty awesome all at the same time. But um, yeah, I think we've talked about it plenty this season. Level softball's a sport unlike any other that one player, and it's not all one player for Tech, but one can affect it more than any, as much as any team sport out there. And you're seeing that with Najee Kennedy and how you're able to just mow through competition because of what you're doing on the mound and
And
defensively.
and Woodman, there's nothing fluky about what we've seen to this
No,
point with these ladies. I
not at
mean,
all.
they're just it hasn't been just totally perfect.
No,
I think there was that one game against Mississippi State
sure.
where you kind of gave up too much, and there's some defensive miscues, this and that. But I mean, you're 5-0 in the postseason. You're playing small ball. You're hitting the long ball. You're pitching great.
Yep.
It's for the most part, it's been really good defense. And it was Florida State on their home field the other day
Hmm.
that struggled defensively.
Big
So
time.
anyway, it's been a lot of fun to watch. And again, I just go back to something we've said in the last couple of weeks. I'm thrilled for the people really enjoying themselves here that have either been a fan of this program or just fans of Texas Tech in general that are looking for reasons to buy into this program or just feel reasons to feel happy and all the stuff
Yeah,
and this team has given that to them and the fire of Kennedy and it's as you mentioned she's the heavy lifter here but there's a lot of other players that have come
absolutely.
up big and that also transferred in and then Coach Glasgow he's just he's 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 kind of got a level of crazy, funny, calm, all
Yeah,
wrapped up into one, and he's taking those pitching machines all over the country, right?
yeah. A little bit of a
Yeah,
shorter drive to Oklahoma City this time, but
little bit is right.
that's not too bad.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So those games, so Tech will open on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. We'll have all the Texas Tech softball College World Series games for you on Double T 97.3 for anyone interested. So that side of things. Now the other diamond, the baseball diamond, since we've last talked level, Matt Gardner let go by Texas Tech, no longer the pitching coach after spending 12 seasons under Tim Tadlock. He was the pitching coach for 2 of those years at the College World Series. So we get a question from Cody that asks, Level and Choice, was Gardner was Gardner just a scapegoat, or do you think he was deserving to be let go?
Well, this is the way this works. Look, and he resigned, but I mean. We know how that works.
Sure, sure.
I would say to take up for Matt here, and I know he's been public enemy number one for a couple of years now. What was he not part of a lot of the success with the pitching staff the first go around and the trips to Omaha?
Two as the pitching coach. He was the pitching coach for the College World Series teams. Yep.
Yeah, and so I mean I think that I think there's a lot of like theories on blame you could point. Something is broken. I can't just say. I think you'd be very naive about there if you're like, okay, we're going to remove Matt Gardner, hire the best pitching coach, go hire Mike Maddox, go hire his brother Greg, okay, who grew up in San Angelo, Texas. And I'm saying that for a reason. But
I've seen
go.
that floated around and heard that floated around, which is
Well,
very interesting.
I think that as of about 3 weeks ago, there was. No, I'll be quiet.
Okay,
I'm not ready to say any more than that there.
got
I
it.
don't know if that's real or,
Got it.
um, like how far down the road that is or whatever, but go hire Mike Maddox, the Texas Tech. Okay. And change nothing else. How different do you think the results are going to be?
It's you're not a one problem away fix right now.
No, I
No.
think you're several.
Yes. Yes, you are.
I think when Matt Gardner had good pitchers to work with, he was a pretty good pitching coach. It's funny how that changes now that he doesn't
It's
have any good
amazing, right?
pitchers to work with. Is that his fault? Is that okay? How are we trying to acquire talent?
Yep.
Where are we trying to acquire it from? Um, how much are we willing to pay that talent? Uh, I mean, spin the wheel here. So I get something was going to change. I don't know if this stops it. I think that typically if you would have done this, that you would have like kind of done everything at the same time.
Mhm.
But and here's the other thing. Here's the scariest thing about this whole deal. How many people do you think really care right now?
For baseball,
How many people do you think are up at night and really stressed out and really are worried and care about it? It's far less than it used to be, and that's the biggest problem.
yeah.
I
What
think
matters
that
are do the guys that have big pay or big checkbooks, thick checkbooks. Are those the ones that care or not? Because that's what this comes down to.
well, and okay, and I think they would have opened up that checkbook if it meant keeping some of your guys in the last year or two that went to the SEC, and you lost your stud pitcher here and your stud catcher there, and so I just think that what the scary thing for Tech baseball is there's a general level of it feels like to me apathy. There was a lot of outward frustration at the beginning and the beginning of the middle portion of the season. As the season waned on, it's as if like, yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? And that's the
Yep.
scariest thing. And again, this softball run has kind of been at a really good time, and people have kind of gone, let's watch this, or this is entertaining me, or I'm not
Yeah.
paying attention to what's going on in baseball. I mean, you lost to Cincinnati, man, in the Big 12 tournament. Like, how embarrassing is that? For a storied program here. I'm just saying it's anyway, Tim's really good at what he does, right? That you know, J Bob, so is Matt, and you know, Ray Hayward. I mean, the whole crew. I just don't know in totality what all needs to change because I think there's probably lots of things that need to change. But it's really in Matt's defense or in Tim's defense, but maybe this is their problem that they created is it's a talent deficit right
Yeah.
now. And okay, well, why is that? Are we recruiting differently? Are we not doing the NIL thing strong enough? Are we? I mean, how many draft picks are going to come off of this team? I remember this time of year. In a lot of cases, you'd be just worried to death about like, oh God, I hope they're not picked up. I mean, who are you worried about losing off of this team? Just be honest.
I think you're
Bravo.
concerned about Damian Bravo and
Okay,
what's the other one?
that's the point. I
Yeah.
mean, and used to it was maybe five or seven guys.
Yeah.
You know, and so anyway, long answer there, but I just I don't know what the right answer is. That's not necessarily the sport I am closest to. Again, I think they have been very good at what they do. They didn't suddenly forget, but something now the rules around them and the game around them has changed
A
dramatically,
lot. Yep.
and I think that you could argue that they didn't change quick enough with it. But I can't pretend to know. I have a much better feel for the football and basketball scenario. I don't know how much NIL game they're playing. I don't know enough about are they still recruiting now the same way they did in 2020 or whatever. So I hate it for Matt. I know he was the poster child for everything that was wrong over there, but I don't think it suddenly all gets fixed by switching out a pitching coach. I don't care who you hire.
No, it has to come with a monetary investment if you want this to happen. If you're a Tech baseball fan, if you're a donor, whatever, the change you understand because it's part of it's the nature of the beast. It's how these things work,
Right.
but it has to come with other things or be a it won't be a fix. Now, in college sports nowadays, you can turn things around in 1 year as
Sure.
better than you ever can or quicker than you ever can. But again, it takes a monetary investment. And I
And
don't
this
think you've
is
had that investment with baseball as the
but
times have gone along.
I would also offer this up to play devil's advocate. Like 8 teams made it out of the 14 into the NCAA tournament. None of them are hosting. So this was clearly a down year comparatively in the Big 12. There's just no way around that.
In terms of having a top dog, yes, but depth overall, eight is a lot. Is the most you've ever had in the league.
It is, but is there any legitimate national championship contenders?
No, no,
No, yeah.
no,
And I would say, I mean, do we really think that Kansas is offering up a ton of money for their baseball program? Do we
no.
really?
What Kansas has done is I think they have seven players that were on their roster last year who turned the whole roster over. That's the difference.
And so that's what I'm saying. Something has to change. I
Mhm.
just don't. I mean, heck, the Arizona State coach was up there on the podium a couple of weeks ago, being like, we don't have hardly any NIL money to
Mhm.
offer up. We've done this the old-fashioned way, 11.7.
Yeah,
And so from that standpoint, that's also like they're just yeah,
yeah,
they're just something needs to change. I just don't know what it is,
agree.
and so anyways, but yeah, I hate it because I know so many like baseball, college baseball is a niche fan base, and this was a crazed, very invested fan base around here, and I just get the sense that's waning a bit. That makes me sad. This filled in the gaps for a lot of
Well,
people
sure.
this
Sure.
time of year, and I just feel like in the last couple of 3 years, it's just
Hmm.
As Jack Dale used to say, they've been long but not extended seasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Unfortunately. All right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
let's look towards football now. Level college football playoff has gone to straight seeding. They've elected to go.
Have they? I hadn't heard anything about the whole CFP lately.
So, I mean, there's a lot of news in college football playoff, obviously, but
Oh,
the straight seeding is one of the big things. Initially, my reaction to this level was, okay, this felt like it was coming. I saw some other Big 12 pundits and writers out there kind of reacting a lot stronger to this, saying Brett Yormark um, folded or bowed down or got bullied around, and why did he do this? So, what was your reaction to this move to go to straight seating and not have the automatic one of four buys?
Brett Yormark is in an impossible situation in many ways, especially as it relates to the CFP. He's in a very you don't like the any war movie that we've watched. I don't know. Pick your movie. Where's the most vulnerable situation to be is when you're down low, you're looking up high, and you're surrounded.
Yeah,
Okay, and you're like, I got no way out. This is he's he's got enemy fire in an elevated situation all around him from that standpoint. Why people are saying this is because this was his only really chip left to play. Like hold this up and say no, we're not doing this. And in exchange, I mean, this is what I think people assumed is that, but he didn't have a lot of company there. I think that people realized that it was because I think Brett Yormark's really, I don't think that I think he really got what he ultimately wanted out of this deal. That was the
okay.
financial component. That's really what was most important. Don't take away our buy because with that buy, the league gets 8 million bucks. We need it. Some of you may not. We need it. And I mean, does it make any sense that Arizona State was the ninth rated team in the country last year and they got a first round bye just because of the semantics? It's a bit goofy. Boise State, same way. This was the argument. I
Sure.
don't have any problem with that. But it was his last bargaining chip, and they've cashed it in, and they've said, okay, you keep your money. We're doing straight seating, and then you get the whole. We did this because it's the best thing for the game. It's the good of the game.
Right.
This was the lingo that we were told about, to which Greg Sankey was triggered by recently. The commissioner of the SEC.
Hmm.
He did not like such things being said. He even referred to them as being in press releases. They were not. Semantics, whatever. This is posturing publicly by people that really are the caretakers of the sport, and that's the biggest problem. There is no caretaker of this sport.
They've
Nobody, no entity is in charge because of everybody's misgivings over the years. These conference commissioners are in charge, and that group is dwindling.
Yep.
In that it used to be a whole bunch of them, now it's just a few of them, and now it's just kind of down to two.
Two. Yep.
Yeah, so that's where you're at. So I didn't have I think it was he's in a no-win spot, man. He's looking up saying, "Please don't shoot me." That's I mean,
Yeah. I
because
mean,
he can squawk and it was a unanimous vote. So what is he going to be, the one outlier? And then they're just going to go, Greg, you know what? You take your ball and you go do your own thing. We're gonna. I mean, like you're just stuck. I mean, there's just nothing he could have done. I mean,
right.
theoretically, I guess they. I don't know if they could have taken that money away, but I get where he's coming from, and I think that's the most important thing for you is the financial component of this deal.
Yeah, I think that's where you're stuck if you're a Big 12, and I mean, Greg Sankey said a whole lot over the last, I mean, couple of days, and there's a lot where, oh, we're fine with this for the next 3 or 4 years, but then we're not even going to be in this model, and he just continues to say things, and really, as a member of the Big 12, you're just like, okay,
Yeah, I
what do we
mean,
do? Like, what can we do?
everybody is doing what's best for them. I cannot fault. We can hate Greg Sankey. Do I think that there's some arrogance there? Sure, but he's doing what's best for his constituents and the people that he works for.
Yeah,
Brett Yormark is trying to do the same. You can't puff up and get puffy chested about Yormark and for doing the same things that Sankey is doing.
yep,
And you negotiated your way all the power and gave it to those other two leagues a year ago. You were like, yeah,
yep.
y'all can be in charge, and s- here you are. I mean, so
What do you say?
and again, this is just for this year. The next phase is really the curious one on what it looks like in 26 and beyond, because they're bumping up against it here. They
Yeah,
have no set calendar, formula, plan, what exactly that's going to look like for the postseason in what is that, 15, 16 months from now.
right. So we've got, I mean, we're still waiting. Feels like it's been the longest waiting game ever of this house settlement. And one thing that was reported out of that is that we're supposed to get a CEO of college football that's supposed to take care of these sorts of things, right? That's supposed to be the distributor of punishment when punishment's out there, where you do eliminate some of the power from the conference commissioners. Does that help? I mean, do we get a CEO of college football? It feels like we're in the biggest limbo stage that we've ever been when it comes to the sport, and it's maddening because I'm a very much want to know the end result type of guy. I'm ready to fast forward and just tell me what it looks like when we're all done with this minutia in the middle. Just tell me where we're at, and it
You have a choice. You got to go to fancy resorts, and you got to talk about what you've talked about, and you've got to no. I mean, and it's not just the CFP. I mean, you're trying to figure out a lot of different things right now with
sure,
these meetings that are going on. The House settlement still hadn't been approved. We don't have a set of rules for this fall. There's people talking about we just need one portal window, which is something I think you and I have talked about on this show. I think that's coming. I just don't know when that is. There's
yep,
different opinions there. NIL, there's more litigation on the way. I mean, but you got Greg Sankey going, I've got people in my room going, what are we still doing attached to the NCAA? I mean, like
yeah,
that's a bomb drop, many years ago. And right now, when he
sure.
says that, it's not even the lead story.
No, no, yeah, it's just where it's at, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more question before we wrap this up, Level. This one comes from James, and it's reacting to something we talked about last episode. Said if Texas Tech would have played for a Big 12 championship last year, because we talked about, you're one game away with TCU, or with if you just win another game,
Beat
you'd have been,
Colorado, beat
yeah, you'd have
TCU,
been
one
in.
of them. Yeah.
If we would have played for a Big 12 championship, would we have gone and got the number one portal class in the country?
Probably not.
Yeah,
I mean, and I can't say that you wouldn't have. However, are you as motivated? I don't buy. And now let me be clear here. Did you win that game, or did you just
yeah.
play in it? I think there's different degrees there. If
I
you if
don't.
you
Yeah,
get if you get there and lose it, I could say that you maybe still would have. If you got in there and you'd won it, and you're playing Texas in the playoff or whatever it worked out, maybe not.
yeah.
One, because you're still playing and all this is the calendar is kind of screwing you up, which
True.
this is why a lot of folks feel like that
Need
the,
a
the
change. Yeah,
portal window needs to be bumped into the late spring and just do it one time,
it's got to be.
or move it to January. and all those things. But yeah, I mean, it's a very fair question.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and
But
one
I
we'll
would say
never,
probably not.
yeah,
Yeah, probably not.
we'll never know the answer to. But you are sitting here with a very highly ranked portal class, and we'll see what you can do with it. We'll learn that in less than 100 days. We're less than 100 out, about 90 to 80 to 90 days, depending when you're taking this in. But Level, appreciate the time, man. It's good stuff as always.
I hope you and everybody out there had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. You connected with family and everybody got to decompress a little bit. That's very important. And we'll do this again next time. No days off around here, man. Sorry for a slight delay in posting this episode this week, but we'll get back on a normal routine hopefully soon.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. For Chris Level, I'm Chois Woodman. It's been the Ask Level podcast brought to you by Double T 97.3.
You've been listening to the Ask Level podcast, powered by Double T 97.3.